to Underwater Astrology Presents Neptune Retrograde with every decan and why this is a pivotal movement in our time, why our generations will be affected, and why it's a really fruitful time to become the observationalist. Are you guys excited? Tune in because Underwater Astrology presents to you Neptune Retrograde and what it will mean. Neptune retrograde starts June 30th and then goes direct December 6, 2023. It starts off in retrograde and Neptune is in the 27th degree currently. Embracing the knower goes back through the months through June, July, August, September, October. By October, we're in the 25th degree. By November, we're in the 24th. And by December, we go direct on December 6, 2023. And we will go over every decan and how to utilize this as we are in an era of very much having phones and computers and a connection and amplification. And Neptune and Pisces being the last sign in the constellation, is an emotional sign. Pisces is very emotional, especially with Neptune here coming in its later degrees, how we all feel and how that all feels. I feel like it's really important to just be like, let's be real. An amplification of over-emotionalization is bad, but to be in a retrograde and point to, like, again, Neptune is the last sign. It's the 12th sign. It's what is under the subconscious coming back into the retrograde. What are the patterns of the subconscious? How do we get out of that? How do we get out of that for good? Who has been amplifying us to make us feel good and nourish our soul with information and history? Who's been feeding our vibration? Neptune in retrograde is reminding you freedom. Freedom within knowing the spiritual realm without having to really be in the spiritual realm, if you know what I mean. Like, I do think because of Corona, there are a lot of people in the spiritual realm. But I was talking about this before when I made this recording, is that I think Neptune in retrograde this time is going to be about the layer of angels and just being like, we have layers of angels. We have guardian angels. There's seraphim. There's cherubs. There's angels with names. And it's so important to realize there's, the highest orders are seraphim, cherubim, thrones, and there's other angels. And some people think there's 4 levels of angels, where there's like, I believe in that. The middle orders are dominions, virtues, and powers. These are your departmental secretaries, agency heads, and 3-star officers. In the lowest orders are principalities, archangels, and just common angels. Basically, everyone below the more senior public service military levels mentioned above. And this is from City News, how angels rate the heavenly hierarchy of angels: high, low, and fallen. And it is important that I think we do start talking about these realms, because I want to say that some of us have our guardian angels. Let me clear that. We all have guardian angels. But there are angels who are just common angels. But the thing is like, because of the realm we're in and the rate we're moving, just being more existing in the Aquarian age and just having been out of Saturn Aquarius, where it was like, go, 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 go. And then we went into Pisces and it was like a natural flow. I think some people are forgetting the natural flow of like going out into nature, getting nature, coming back, and realizing that's a healthy part of evolution. And what that does to our brain, if you are on the computer for too long, there's a lack of vitamin D, and what that does to your soul and your body. I think it is important to be like, maybe here with this vibration of Neptune going back, we're forgetting that it's really important with the Pluto retrograde to know the hierarchy of these angels, because with Pluto and Capricorn, it's all about hierarchy. So it's all about, for example, people who are famous know they're famous. People who are not famous know they're not famous. That's like a really simple hierarchy. Or like people who are in the office or who work for the presidential election know they're of that category, and people who do not work for that, they know that they're in their category. Another example, nonprofit and for-profit organizations, or like stuff like that. Those things are really important to know, because that's like how you separate these hierarchy dividends we naturally have that create natural order But with that being said, because we've done these degrees before in the last 2 years, we've been kind of like, I feel like, oscillating back and forth with these degrees. Neptune going back in 24 and going back in 26. We've been doing this, I feel like, since 2022. So it's like these degrees we know, but now we're not going back to 24. We're going back to 23. Sorry, we're going back to 24. We're not going back to 23. So that's very interesting. I think with this degree, like, each generation has a different Pluto and what that'll mean. For example, Pluto in Virgo will now be experiencing, have been heavily experiencing Pluto in Virgo opposed Neptune, which means that they do have to come into their power quickly and know who they are. This means for Pluto in Virgo, they should not be out here spending a bunch of money. You know, they should just realize that this is their time to pick up on their harvesting. And with the retrograde coming back, it is going to bring in, where have I not saved enough? Really, they're really going to suffer if they don't start budgeting. Pluto in Libra, well, that's a square, right? We are back. I'm sorry, the audio track cut off for Pluto and Neptune series, but I was saying that basically with Pluto in Libra and its aspects to Neptune and Pisces, it is a quincunx. And what that means is that it's really important to... A quincunx is also referred to as an inconjunct when two planets are 150 degrees apart. So Pluto in Libra could be like trying to find a reflection in Neptune. You know, something about a higher vision. And it's a way to like empower the sign and learn from the sign. So it's like understanding Pluto and Libra, understanding the compassion of Pisces, and Pisces finding the compassion in Libra. And that was if it was sun sign. So imagine if it was like Pluto and Libra finding the compassion to empower themselves in relationships. And for Pluto and Scorpio, it's a sextile. So I really see that it's just very easy for Pluto and Scorpio just to ride the tides. I see a lot of Pluto and Scorpio just being soul surfers, feeling light with the energy, feeling motivated to empower their vision, especially with Pluto coming back in Capricorn and trining Pluto and Scorpio again with Neptune and Pisces. I think that's a great two benefic planets that really aspect the Pluto and Scorpio generation well. As far as that, Pluto and Scorpio have really good energy now to empower the vision, as well as Pluto and Sagittarius as well. I think this is a time of stepping away from the crowd, finding themselves, and working on self-development. Aspect of Pluto and Sagittarius to Neptune and Pisces is a square, so that means it's really about understanding your own nature, having the self-reflection, the discipline, and the personal growth through your work to have a balance in your life. It's maybe not all about working all the time. Maybe it's about spirituality. Maybe it's about the physical body and understanding your relationship with how you love your environment here. I think it's about being like, if some of you are artists or creative types, it's about being like, what is the best creative energy for me to have like the most ideal working space, the most homey environment to bring out the best energy in me, because Pluto and Sagittarius is actually quite spiritual, because Sagittarius is a spiritual sign, and with Pluto and Sag, it's very like practically empowering yourself through self-development. And I see a lot of you guys working with this Neptune and retrograde transit to like understand personal growth more. And then for Pluto and Capricorn, it's a beautiful trine. So at that point, I do feel like for Pluto and Capricorn, I do see you guys just needing to find safety and find your voice, to empower yourselves, to write out your goals, and to have fun and inspire the people around you with your wit and intelligence. So that is it for the series of Pluto and aspecting Neptune retrograde, only because Pluto in Aquarius was here for maybe a few months, so to aspect that would be a bit strange. But we do go back to Pluto in Aquarius next year. So there are some good things happening. Stay tuned. So I thought I'd pull up some references of the Piscean Neptune and its degree to reference what we are going through as a collective as Neptune goes back June 30th in the beautiful sign of Pisces. From this website, sabiansymbols.com, I got this reference. A harvest moon illuminates the sky. This shows recognizing the riches in one's life, the beauty and wonder of life, to have a sense of achievement and of a job well done, along with a wonderful ability to be able to see and vision things. The symbol often brings a satisfying sense of abundance. It's a time of harvest. The sky is clear and conditions are perfect. The harvest moon is a positive sign with high energy, as it's a time of fertility, abundance, and illumination. Reap the benefits of the work that's been done. It takes a while to bring in the harvest. Take some time out to celebrate and connect with family and loved ones. Situations ripe and full of fruition, celebrating what you have, expanded perspective, making the most of what's been achieved, companion planting, the beauty of the moon, neglecting tasks because of the appearance of abundance, achievements waning because of neglect, lunatic behavior, not being able to sleep, illusions. This is the degree of Neptune going back, right? And then we have Neptune going back in the 26th degree. Then we have Neptune going back in the 26th degree in September. By mid-September, we have Neptune going back in the 26th degree. For the next pretty much 1, 2, 3 months, we have Neptune in this degree of kind of celebrating, what we've reaped, all the kind of harvesting. That's the title of this Sabian symbol, this degree. So I think from the summer moving forward, it's a great time to save your dreams, save your ideas, and not be hard on yourself when things are not adding up as quickly as you thought, especially with some of the younger generations. I know you guys have ideas. Just keep working on them and keep refining them despite all the craziness that's happening. I think it's important to just stick to what you know, stick to your gut. I also think for the older generations, it is a great time to really apply that to your bank accounts. Really do harvest your money, because I do think it is more important about having money for a rainy day than just spending things, because you guys are the older generation, so the younger generation is looking at to you to, when things are not working out, to kind of have the benefit of the doubt of you guys being able to navigate through a turbulent economical crisis, despite whether you have millions of dollars or despite whether you have just a few dollars. Doesn't matter. The hierarchy, the inflation and the hierarchy and the job situation is astronomically bad in the US, and it is nowhere near as being is in a war, but I want to tell you that it's pretty bad to be like, it's even bad for people who are extremely rich, because they still need to profit off of something, and if nobody's buying anything, nobody's profiting off of anything, and the economy goes down and the jobs are not feeding the people. So you see that the system is kind of folding in on itself, whether you like it or not, and nobody's happy about it. So that's just a very important fact. And I think something beautiful about this title, about being Harvest a Moon, it shows that it is skill-based, it is a harvest of money, it is a harvest of what you know. This is the time to kind of pull in and be like, there's so many things to enjoy that do not necessarily need money, and I highly suggest that people look into those things this summer and really find freedom and joy in that. Okay, I want to get this official information down. So, again, we have the retrograde happening June 30th, the Neptune retrograde happening in Pisces June 30th, 2023, starting at 27th degree. By the time we get to September 16th, 2023, it will be in the 26th degree that day, and by the time we get to October 16th, 2023, the next month, it will be in the 25th degree, and by the time we get into November 16th, it goes in the 24th degree. And then we go forward December 6th in the 24th degree. And I'll tell you, move through each decan and the energy in that period, and I'll read the Sabian symbols. Thank you. Move forward into the 26th degree, Neptune and Pisces, and when that exactly will start is right around September 16th, 2023. We will be in the 26th degree, and what that Sabian symbol represents. A new moon reveals that it's time for people to go ahead with their different projects. This shows being able to see or to accept when it's time for people to move on or to part from each other. They need to go ahead with their different projects. Their focus has changed, and quite possibly they've parted ways. There's a picture here of new beginnings. People have their own response to situations. Not everyone will react in the same way. It can be a good idea to direct some energy into your desires or projects at the time of the new moon. Light a candle and state your intentions with honesty and love. So that could be to be financially abundant or to be healthy. That's what I'll be projecting then. Diversifying, applying talents in new directions, people splitting up and splitting off, new opportunities and potentials, divorces, new jobs, directions and destinies, new eras, not giving emotional support, feeling split off and alone, the fear of and loathing of separation, failing relationships, overthrowing the old too quickly, and fickleness. So I don't think it's ironic that this is happening, that kind of energy is happening as we get right into the early fall of September 16th. That shows me that this is right after summer. It's no coincidence that it's right after summer when this new energy of Neptune is changing, when we're out of summer, out of that kind of like go to the beach every day and party to coming back and being in the honeymoon phase of our life, and then coming back and having to deal with people going in different directions. That could be people traveling at this time for work. That could be, you needing to diversify in your business to get new clients. That could be sticking to your gut and knowing that it's Neptune, and when we're working with a Neptune retrograde, it's really important to realize that to get what you want, you can't be super shy. So there has to be some kind of balance of who you are, but also accommodating to someone else at some level. And to be simple and honest, there should be a hierarchy in your life at this point. And with it being Pisces, it's so important to go with the flow. So let's move forward to the next degree. So then by this time, we will go into the 25th degree. By September 29th, we will be in the 25th degree of Pisces, Neptune and Pisces here, going in retrograde. That again, the 25th degree by September 29th. And that is the degree, the Sabian symbol is the purging of the priesthood. This shows seeing through those who hold important positions yet abuse trust, or those who make great claims but don't live up to them. At this time, you're likely to find yourself leaving others behind, kicking them out, or experiencing falls from grace. Periodically, there is a need to examine moral and spiritual sincerity. It is easy to allow those who don't really belong to stay because of familiarity or habit. We can lose sight of the ideal through our rationalizing intellect, ego, and emotive passion. There is a need to cleanse and purify your life, leading to better spiritual values. What side of the purging are you on? Are you the one with the right motives, who's in charge, things holding you back, revealing the truth, throwing out what doesn't measure up, dismissals, and redundancies, being a hot shot or not, betrayal of trust, cover-ups, battles over spiritual direction, abusing authority, whistleblowing, damning others, deceiving, lying, or misleading, corruption and scandals, burning books. Yeah, this is the kind of energy that's like, you're like right into that transition moment, Neptune and Pisces, of fully understanding what it means to have divine faith and rationality, and fully understanding the ego and what it means to like see your ego, but know that it's like good judgment is needed here, and higher intuition, because it's like we all know the lower aspect of Neptune is lies, delusions, and addiction. And here it reminds me of someone who's deep into their work, deep into their purpose. Everyone's going back to school at this time. It's the fall, the weather's cooling down. At this moment, we're entering Libra season, so it's already about balance and trust and relationship. And here I see, be careful of scams, be careful of fraud on the internet, be careful of giving your social identity away. Here I see, like, we have to know that, a high percentage of jobs online are fraud, and the people really who are working online are in tight, closed, private offices and jobs that usually require you to come in to do a real interview. And then the other jobs are pretty much creative pursuits that have turned into freelancing businesses. And it is important to realize, like, how many people still think that they can get a job online and still do not realize how high fraud is right now, and how sad it is as a person who has been in some as a person who understands fraudulent behavior. I'll just say that it's important to realize, yeah, there's some stuff that you have to be careful when you engage in, because it's like, it seems like a good idea, and then you give them your information. All of a sudden, like, you could be human trafficked, or you could even be like, lose thousands of dollars by giving them your account and routing number, and like ask for a direct deposit. And I've worked for companies that I thought were real and they were not. So I just want to say, like, there's fraud online, and this has been starting since 2021. And I just want to pull up the chart for August 2021 and the decan of Neptune. Neptune was in the 22nd degree, and that's a completely different degree. So this is an energy we've been working with, I want to say, for maybe the past 2 years. I'm going to clarify it now to kind of get an overview. But yeah, Neptune has actually done its deeper work in, I want to say, in 2023. So in January, we were in Neptune in 23. Yeah, so this is the first year we went deeper into Neptune. So it's kind of like I said again, starting off with the retrograde of that harvest moon and coming out of the honeymoon, and then coming out to being like, there is fraud. So like all the people who think they're really behind, when they're not really behind, it's just nobody really talks about fraud enough. You see people talking about, and that's what's going to be the topic in Libra, is it's going to be this imbalance of, you see people talking about, oh, I made $100,000 in like 2 weeks. You remember when you used to see those commercials back in 2021 and 2022, like on the TV, on YouTube? A lot of like the first beginning of the Corona commercials, like post-Corona pandemic, like during the pandemic, was like, I made thousands of dollars on stock. I've made thousands of dollars, working online and doing that kind of work. And I think it's important to realize, like, now you're seeing the truth revealed. And that's what I feel like, having Libra in the South Node with Neptune in the 25th degree. It's going to be like, we started off this year with the 23rd degree, and it's like we went deeper, and we're not going back into the 23rd degree this year. So I think it's about being like, understanding the subconscious of the collective, and the really, really bad balance we have with what's true and abundant, with Neptune being in Pisces in its kind of home placement, and what's like fraudulent and scandalous. With South Node Libra in Libra season, might I add that we also have a Libra eclipse. So we have a Libra eclipse, solar eclipse in Libra October 15th, which I think is all about this kind of harvesting what you know with relationships. And really, it's going to be about like what's really abundant and what's not. But this is not about the eclipses, this is about Neptune. So that could be a whole other conversation. But yeah, I do think it's not ironic that the Neptune, there is a eclipse there. I will go into it briefly. I do think it will be about a time, about reaping more abundant relationships, in the relationships, that are more abundant and that are like higher love, rather than the like kind of demoralizing relationships that are like eating at you, egotistical, you're never enough, you're never going to be enough, so you constantly like spend your energy and money on the wrong things. And it's that eclipse is going to shift you a little bit out of your ego into like higher abundance and how to like understand what you know and apply it. Moving forward, we will be talking about the 24th degree, and Neptune will go into the 24th degree in its beautiful retrograde journey on November 16, 2023. So when Neptune goes into retrograde and it enters the 24th degree, November 16, 2023, the Sabian symbol here is the tiny island seems lost in the broad ocean, but its happy and inhabitants have created a world of their own. This shows living with others, sharing the same space, or efforts to create a happy life. The people pictured all live together and have created a great world all their own. No matter how well people get along, people still have to compromise and give and take in order to sustain good community relations. Drawn together by similar hopes and ambitions, it is ironic that sometimes compromise is the only way to successful coexistence. Making the most of what is available, even though it is restrictive, will help dispel any feelings of being cut off and isolated. Who are you comfortable sharing your space with? Who do you have sharing your desert island? Adaptability and cohabitation, considering others, coexistence, the need for new people to grow and flourish, apartments, people moving in, seeking like minds, social intrigues, cutting off from others, resentment around privacy or space, no chance to be alone, pollution and garbage, noise, loneliness amongst the many, and crowding in. So, obviously the lower half is kind of like the shadow aspects, but I like to say it all because I think it's really important, and I think with Neptune, you need to know the shadow. But I really think this is a great degree to come back in on around November 16th, 2023, because I feel that by this time we'll be in Scorpio season, but it won't be the South Node, and I think people will I do think people will be happy in their relationships and their marriage here. I do think people will get to the point of like serious gratitude in themselves. I really feel spiritual about this degree and the beauty of people joining up and having a deeper connection. If you're not married and you're not in a relationship, then I see people coming together in deeper, high vibrational communities and being like, with the North Node Aries here with Chiron, being like, especially just getting to the heart of the moment of, there will be good community organizations around this time. I think people will wake up to the need for creating a better world and creating a better territory and space for all people, not just your people, but all people, and realizing that we all have something beautiful to share and we all need healing on some level. And knowing that we're going into North Node Aries, it's like, don't trigger the wounds, just understand them on a really deep level so you have more higher synchronicities in your universe and your realm. And that's why you need to stay on this high vibrational path, because when you keep like supporting really good musicians, when you keep going to the shows, when you keep supporting like high vibrational people, like those people continue to thrive and exist and produce good work. And you see that we need those people very deeply. And I think this is where I'm feeling that in Scorpio season, is where it's very obvious that support is very needed to people, because these people keep the earth high vibrational and they keep things intact, right? Because it's like, if you were just to kind of work around it just being about yourself, even in North Node Aries, it still, the South Node is a little bit of the executive here, because it's almost the awareness of it being in the South Node that brings out the magic. And then the North Node is understanding. Like, I always see the North Node as something you have to control. It's like, for example, we were North Node Taurus, and then we switch over July 18th, 2023. And I always see that as it being a time when we had to like eat and slow down, but also knowing like I can't eat the whole fridge. And I think with North Node Aries, it's like I can't just make it all about me all the time, but I do see how I would need to go out for walks, and I do see how I need to meditate. I do see how I need to quiet the mind, journal, understand that I need to create more space on my computer, because North Node Aries is a person who's going to need space. You know, Libra is the one who's like, oh, we can all just be in like, Libra needs space, but Libra also loves relationships. I think North Node Aries, I could see them, people just being like, I need more space on my computer to do work. I need more like understanding of like software to do what I do and do it really well. And I see by this time us realizing like, you know, you may always just want the next DJ controller, and it just keep the next DJ. For example, I love Newmark. They have great DJ controllers, but you could just want the next DJ controller, and that could just be $100 every month. They come out with the next DJ controller, and you can just never afford it. But instead of like trying to do that for yourself all the time and always be on top of technology, you could go support someone's like channel. You could donate. You could just give someone $10. You know what I mean? It's not about big accomplishments all the time. I think it really is about the small increments with the Neptune in retrograde that really help. Of course, support yourself and support your business and do the big things. But I also believe that to do the things you do, there are people, again, supporting you behind the scenes, and that vibration with a Neptune retrograde really needs to stay sustained, so everything stays intact. Because like sometimes when it's Neptune in retrograde, everything could feel like it's floating, and you're just like, whoa, like I'm in the universe. But I think it's important to be like, always bring it back to like needing high vibrational people around you. Natally, I have a Neptune in retrograde, so I understand like needing to support high vibrational people. And I understand the emotion of that. Like, I have people on YouTube that I think are really amazing astrologers. I have musicians that I love that are from my hometown. I have places and venues that I love that remind me of love. I have the beach 30 minutes away that I love. You know what I mean? I have things in my life that I love. But to do those things, I have, for example, I play the bass. I own a bass. I love that bass. But I think it is important to realize, like, to remind you of the things you love. It is so important to keep supporting the people you love. And I'll just leave it at that for that degree. Moving forward, we will go back into the 24th degree, November 16th. We will be in the 24th degree of Neptune in Pisces. And I just want to read to you guys what that will mean. The Sabian symbol, Pisces 24. The tiny island seems lost in the broad ocean, but its happy inhabitants have created a world of their own. Thank you so much for tuning into Neptune retrograde through the 4 degrees and the Sabian symbol meanings. I hope you guys tune into underwater astrology, trying to give you the best perspective from a Neptune in Capricorn, Uranus in Capricorn, that pretty much conjunct. I feel like I have the most insight in the early mornings of the dawn when the sun is coming up. Those are some of my favorite placements. And I hope you like the video and subscribe and stay tuned, because I want this channel to grow and blossom. Just like your life. Okay, see you guys soon.